Let's take a look at worksheet number 851, Fiscal Analysis of Matrix Revenue and Expenditures. I truly believe this is a very powerful worksheet. It gives you a lot of really good information about the overall health and the staffing model. And this worksheet is broken down into 5 sub-worksheets, 4 on the left-hand column of the page, and 1 worksheet on the right-hand column of the page. As always, we want to take a look at our filters over here. We are looking at the Alma School District today. However, we can click on the down arrow and either search or choose any district that we please. So let's look at the worksheet. In the upper left-hand quadrant here is the foundation funding trend. This worksheet gives you information with regards to the 3-quarter average daily membership for the district over the past 5 years. So we can see any trends of either growth or declining enrollment. We also include the foundation funding per student that the school receives each year as revenue on a per student basis. So you can see we've had some very good increases in revenue over the last 5 years. And then of course we multiply those 2 numbers and we get the foundation funding for the school with regards to how the school is funded in each fiscal year. Final column is the percentage difference in foundation each year. So while the legislature might provide for a percentage increase, almost 2%, say 1.74% between 21 and 22, notice the district increase in foundation funding was only 0.49%, and that was due to a decrease in enrollment between 21 and 22 school years. The second worksheet is a comparison of expenditures for funds 1,000 for teacher salary and 2,000 operating. You'll notice also that we've included the numbers for charter schools. Charter schools have a different number for teacher salary, it's 1,200, and operating expenses are 2,200. So this worksheet's a simple comparison how we spent money on teacher salaries versus operating, and then that total is compared to a statewide dollars per student. So in fiscal year 19, the Alma School District spent $7,003 per student in the areas of teacher salary and operating, compared to a statewide average of a little over $7,500. The third worksheet is a comparison of foundation funding revenue versus expenditures for teacher salary and operating. So we start with the most left-hand column. You'll notice your foundation funding versus the total of expenditures for 1,000 and 2,000. You can see that does match the number we were looking at previously up here. The third column is a comparison between revenue versus expenditures. Did we spend more money than we received for teacher salaries and operating than we received in foundation funding? In the case of this school district, the answer is yes, and it varies in amount from year to year. Notice that we don't have full year information for FY23. It will still not be accurate and able to take a really good look at this until the completion of the school year with regards to a total year comparison. So we've noticed that the school district did spend more for teacher salaries and operating than they received in foundation funding, and we can see the percentage difference. We also need to go in and add additional revenue the school receives. So schools receive additional revenue in the areas of excess debt service, dollars that can be used for maintenance and operation. This is income the school receives for their millages that are passed for their bonded debt, and the millage brings in more money than the school district spends for principal and interest payments. So therefore, they have additional dollars that can be used for maintenance and operations of the schools. Some districts also have passed millages for additional M&O dollars above the 25 mil URT, and then some districts have also passed millages for dedicated maintenance and operating expenditures. And when we take the foundation funding minus the expenses and then also add in the excess debt service, then you can see the positive balance that the school had at the end of the year as compared to expenditures for Fund 1,000, 2,000. You'll notice that previously that had been a negative amount. It appears the district has some kind of restructuring of their bonds between the 19 and 20 school years. Final column on this side of the ledger is a staffing efficiency rating. So we take a look at your staffing model. We start off with the total number of FTEs, or full-time equivalent employees, and this number is pulled from the annual statistical report. So we don't have that information for FY22 yet. Hopefully that'll be released soon. Typically the ASR comes out sometime about mid-year, maybe January or February. We're hoping to get that information a little earlier during this calendar year of 22. However, it is populated shortly after we receive the information from the ASR and is posted. And this is the number of licensed employees that you have in your school district. So one important thing to point out is it does include those employees that are paid with categorical funds. The second column is the student to certified ratio for the district. 3/4 ADM, make that calculation based upon the number of employees we have. we have 1 employee for every 13.2 students. Now the matrix staffing goal, remember, is set based on a prototypical school of 500 students with 34.69 licensed employees. So that's a staffing ratio of 1 employee for every 14.4 students. We do a comparison between the school district's ratio compared to the staffing goal in the matrix, and then that percentage is 91.65%. So anything above 90% we've noticed is a really good staffing model for school districts. They're more closely aligned to the matrix. Obviously, a school district is not required to be in line to the matrix, but the more closely their staffing model is aligned to the matrix, the more efficient the school district will be with the state dollars and have the additional dollars that's necessary to fund other educational purchases, such as educational materials, supplies, ongoing projects for renovation, construction, and repair. This worksheet also gives you some additional information with regards to the district's average classroom salary, less National Board Certified Teacher amount. So this is the average salary that the teacher equalization funds are based on. We also give you the information with regards to the percent of teachers that have a bachelor's or master's degree in the district. And then finally, a column that shows the average years of teaching experience for teachers in the district. The right side of the page gives us in broad object groups. So we break it down in broad object groups. What we're really looking at, I think, is most important in this worksheet is the running percentage of your foundation funding that's spent on each of the broad object groups. So if we scroll down to fiscal year 22 and we take a look at our running percentage of foundation funding dollars, once again, it's the running percentage. Running percentage of foundation funding dollars is spent on salary. 70% of the district's money, foundation dollars, is spent on salary. Now, when we combine that with benefits, so salary and benefit expenditures, we're up to 89% of our foundation funding is expended on those two items. So only 11% of foundation funding is left to take care of all of our purchases. Many of those purchases include a pretty large percentage usually for supplies and materials. Most districts runs anywhere between 6 and 10% of their foundation funding is spent on supplies and materials. So you'll notice that when we add all that up, the district spent slightly more for expenditures in Fund 1000, 2000, 2.58% more than they received in foundation funding. And you'll notice that 2.58% matches this calculation over here where we calculated the dollar difference of $595,690 difference between foundation fund revenue and expenditures for Fund 1000 teacher salaries and 2000 operating expenses. So it gives you a good idea of how you're spending your foundation funding. There are districts that have a lot of different ways that they spend their money. There's no right or wrong answer with regards to how much you spend. The important thing is that you know how you spend those dollars. So how much do I have in excess debt service revenue to fund expenditures within my district, and how do we spend those dollars? Also, an important feature is what percentage of our foundation funding do we spend on salary and benefits. So there's a lot of great information that you can get in worksheet number 851. Really helps you analyze how you're spending your foundation funding, the percentage difference in foundation funding for your district. It really puts the focus on enrollment, the dollars per student that we're receiving, and our staffing model. So is our staffing model in line with the matrix? Are we way out of line? Do we have maybe way too many staffing members? Maybe we need to take a look at the possibility of reducing staff through attrition. Very good worksheet. Hope you enjoy worksheet number 851, Fiscal Analysis of Matrix Revenue Expenditures.